StarGeekz. May the force be with you. This is Sean.
This is Lil.
And this is Ed.
And this week, we are going to review the micro episodes of season 1 of the Clone Wars animated cartoon by Genndy. I always mess up his name. Tartakovsky.
Genndy.
Genndy is
Genndy.
Genndy. Yeah, I always fuck up his name. And mind you, I love.
There's no R. No R. You always go with the hard R. It must be a East Coast thing.
Must be. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know. But I wanted to talk about some Star Wars news this week. Just a couple things. Nothing crazy.
Something crazy, right? Like something.
Well, one thing is crazy, but the other thing is Matthew Vaughn wants to reboot the Star Wars universe.
He's not wrong. I mean, okay. Let me explain. I read that article too. We did not talk about this.
No,
but I read what Matthew Vaughn said, and Matthew Vaughn is not wrong. It's the same thing what we talked about. It's funny because we talked about it last week on the Geekz show about Marvel, and then all of a sudden this week, all these news articles, and I'm like, man, people are listening to us. I know they're not, but people are listening to us because I've been saying this for weeks that they were going to use Secret Wars as a reboot to the universe because you can't. They've lost so many iconic characters through age, right?
Right.
And Star Wars, they've lost. I mean, yes, we've gotten, and the glimpses we've got have been great, but the problem is the glimpses go nowhere, right? We had Luke show up at Mando, and it was like a scene everybody went nuts for. We had Vader at the end of Rogue One. We have Vader coming back doing these things, but there's nothing going forward, right? You don't have the Princess Leia anymore. You don't have these other characters. So by doing a reboot and telling new stories within the time frame that maybe we didn't get live action stories, because there's a lot of lore stories out there, right? With new actors. And I don't think it's a reboot like I'm going to redo A New Hope, like a shot for shot New Hope. I think it's more of I want to take these characters that we love and tell a story in this timeline, in this time frame, and build more to it, more of the lore. And I think that's why I think Matthew Vaughn's not wrong. Because every kid growing up, they know Darth Vader, right? But Darth Vader's not showing up in the movies. They know Luke Skywalker. They know Princess Leia. And they can go watch the old movies, but there's nothing new to take them to the next level. They keep introducing new characters, but they don't always hit well. And like shows like Andor and stuff, it's not bringing in a younger generation of fans. And series like this die without that youth following through. I mean, you see the revival in the Clone Wars in the prequel trilogy, because all the kids that grew up with the prequels are now adults.
Right.
So they're loving the prequel stuff more so than the people who love the original trilogy stuff. So I'm telling you, and I know we don't like the story, but 15, 20 years from now, the sequel trilogy, people are going to love it. There's going to find love for the sequel trilogy.
You had me until people loving the sequel trilogy.
I'm telling you, the kids. It'll be kids that'll love it. Kids that grew up wearing the Kylo Ren masks, wearing that stuff, running around with those. That's what those kids are going to tie to. And that's how these IPs last the test of time, right? It's doing this, but then also reinventing the same characters. Why do you think how many Batman issue number ones were released? How many times do they retell the story? How long has Batman been 35 years old with new Robin?
Yeah, but it's different.
You know what I mean? Like that's
though.
I don't know.
It's not.
It's like, oh, we're gonna reboot Back to the Future. You can't do that.
But that's different. That is not a full. Back to the Future is a one silo story in the United States of America between two characters, right? Like Star Wars is a galaxy far, far away where you can do anything. You can bring up anything random, and it's fantasy. It's a whole, and there's so much lore behind it that you need to build off that. You got to bust a Marty McFly behind you? No, you got to bust a Darth Vader behind you.
Right. I prefer the sequel trilogy over the prequel trilogy. Yeah.
See, I mean, and you're going to get a lot of that stuff, right? Everyone's going to latch on to things, but the thing is that everybody latches on Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, Han Solo, Princess Leia, the core. And the core is no longer around. So the only way you can actually pick Star Wars back up is by rebuilding that core and telling stories from the core.
Ed, what you think?
No, I agree with what Alil's saying. Is that he's
I
not
think everybody agrees with
he's
what
not
Lil said.
he's not wrong. I guess the real question
I'm
though
dropping
is,
truth bombs tonight.
what's the right way to do it? Because you have a wide range of fans. You've got us from the originals, so you want to try and find that sweet spot to where you're not going to alienate any of them. You obviously need good characters, good story. Now, do you do something like, and we've all seen where they've done the mock-ups of Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker. So he's a good stand-in. Do you try to replicate what's there, or do you create something just using the character and go all new?
Well, see, what I think Matthew Vaughn also said too, right, is, and this is something that I think is going to be tough because this is the test. This is going to be this next 4 or 5 years for Star Wars is the test. And the test is, can Star Wars stand without the Skywalker saga? Right? Because right now Mando's doing well, but Mando's got a hook. If Mando didn't have Grogu, I don't know if the popularity would be what the popularity is. The Baby Yoda phenomenon has exploded into all. But right,
it has, but it still carried it.
Yeah.
It did. It carried it. It carries it merchandising. It carries it with everything else. It carries it getting new fans. It carries it getting young fans in. That's what you're looking for, is that hook. They thought Porgs were going to be that hook. It kind of was, because my son still loves damn Porgs. But I'm just saying, like, they need those hooks, right? And without having your main core, you keep searching for the hook. And I think that is Archangel saying Baby Yoda is the worst part of me. You know what? For you, it might be, right? But I have a wife here who has a ton of Baby Yoda stuff. She loves Grogu.
That baby is fucking awesome. I'm sorry. Like,
no, I know.
I just want him to grow up. That's all. I just want him to be old.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. Like, what can they tell more stories? Can it survive without the Skywalkers? Or is the Skywalker and Star Wars intertwined forever, and you have to keep going back to the well?
It's intertwined forever, man.
Well, because even if you look at Ahsoka, right? Like, Ahsoka is intertwined with it. You had to bring Hayden Christensen back as Anakin Skywalker to keep going. Mando, season 2, the finale was saved by Luke Skywalker showing up. And that's the other thing, too. It doesn't make sense to go back into this time era and not have any of them there.
Agree.
So I think there is 30 years of story that they can tell with Luke Skywalker, with recasting. I think Mark Hamill would be fine with it. You know, I think he's even said it before, like, yeah. I mean, even with, and I'm not saying it should be Sebastian Stan. I mean, it would be. I mean, it kind of would make sense because he looks just like him. Like, you know,
he can step right in,
and he's a good actor who can actually like fight. You know, like I think
start it young. If you're gonna do it, start them young, so that way you can develop them over time and kind of push it. Mace Windu was never a badass as he was in the animated series. Also, Anakin's fight is so amazing. Yeah. We'll get to that one.
We'll get to that when we talk about the series.
Thank you for joining.
But I think he's right, and I think it's going to be very interesting if Filoni can build off his universe and keep the momentum going, then maybe you have a branch away.
That's what we're counting on. I think
it's going to be. I still think. I mean, like, every branding, everything. Vader T-shirts still sell. Classic Stormtroopers still sell. Like, all that stuff still sells.
Yeah.
And what do we go crazy for when we see the classic stuff on screen?
Agreed.
So could they use a launching point as something like, I mean, and I love the story, I almost want to say Heir to the Empire, but it's not that. It was the one with Shizor. It took place between Empire and Jedi. It was right there on the tip of my tongue.
I don't know, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story, and it's right in between. It kind of shows.
Canon?
No.
Okay.
See,
I'm sure it's Legends.
As much as I would love for them to tell stories in between,
Shadow of the Empire.
Oh, God damn it!
Yes.
You said something else, and I was like, huh?
As much as I would love for them to tell stories in between, I think where you get lost is the same thing. I'm watching Rogue One, and then I'm putting in A New Hope, and while there is aesthetics that match, the feel and the vision doesn't match, right? It's like I'm watching HD versus 480. On my screen, even though it's a high def, but
I agree, it doesn't fucking work at all.
And I think if they wanted to go there, I think you would have to start. That's the thing, Charles. You're like go young. I think Sebastian Stan is young enough to do a series of movies as Luke Skywalker, pre-Jedi Temple Ben Kenobi shit, and right where we met him, where he's doing his thing, but also have it action packed, right? Like you need to have him.
Times have changed.
Some missions, some doing some stuff, like showing why he is, the return of the Jedi. And maybe that's
I agree with everything you're saying, but I can't see it. They just got to move forward, man. Just move forward. It is what it is. The stories were told.
But Superman's been rebooted. Batman's been rebooted. These stories get rebooted. James Bond. How many different James Bonds have there been?
But it's Star Wars.
What these characters are, this IP, for it to stand the test of time, you have to recast. You have to tell the stories that people want, that drive people to the theaters. But because we've already shown that they failed, that they haven't done it well enough to try to build out of it.
But this is the thing. This is the thing. Star Wars is a movie. I get it, but you got to understand something else. You got to understand something else with that. You have creatures and replicas and props and all that kind of shit and all that traditional, the shit that ILM did.
But that's not going away.
70s, I get it, but back in the 70s, you can't recreate that. You can never ever recreate that. That's again why Back to the Future has never been done. You just can't recreate that magic and what they did is so iconic that it would be a disrespect to actually go back and reboot the Star Wars.
I'm not saying reboot as much as I'm saying pull off not even fill in. Pull off what every horror franchise has been doing over the last 5 years and do the requel, right? Where they're doing a sequel with the same character, but you don't have to bring them back the old characters. You bring back or the old actors. You bring back the characters, and you touch point. So you do a Luke Skywalker story after Return of the Jedi.
They tried to do that with Solo, and it didn't fucking work.
No, because Solo was a prequel, and when you're shoehorning stories before and after, when we already know what's happening. And a lot of people like Solo. You like Solo. You and Steve go exactly. There's a way to do it right. I think Solo had a lot of problems with it. Rogue One did a lot right. Am I right? Yeah. So Rogue One pulled it off.
I would love to see a Qui-Gon and Dooku movie. I would love to see that. I would love to see all that before, like in those middle little prequel. Again, with the prequel, it was the prequels, right? Yeah, the prequels. Yeah. I can see all that shit filled in. Like you could do all that all day. Like I'm fine with that. That's why Andor worked. That's why Rogue One worked. That's why those fucking work before we get to the 1, 2, 3 or 4, 5, 6. I love everything that they're doing before that. Everything we're doing. After that, again, The Force Awakens was fucking great. I still love The Force Awakens. Anything after that was shit. The only reason why we're talking about this because those fucking sequels were trash. and that's why everyone wants to fucking reboot that
Well,
shit.
they weren't
That's
because
only,
we
there are
love
two fucking
we all love
movies.
7. I don't care what nobody says. We all love 7.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
Of course,
So-
The Force Awakens was amazing. I watched it the other day. It's fucking great. But then after that, it turns to shit. And that's the only reason why we're talking about
Well,
rebooting
it
it,
turned to
because
shit
that was shit.
because of what they did to Luke. I think that's it. I think if the story was different with Luke, I think everything would be different.
It's just things Solo. Yo, Arcade.
You're always crazy. We love it. We love it.
But
So
yeah,
is the reason you like The Force Awakens because it's a retread. It's a retread of A New Hope. I mean,
It is.
beat for beat, it's the same movie.
It's a retread, and it brings back a main character, right?
I don't think
it's following the requel.
The only thing that made it a rehash of A New Hope is because of the fucking shitty Death Star that fucking First Order built. That's the only reason why. That is it.
Star Killer Base. Come on.
Yeah, everything else before that bullshit that they did, the Star Killer Base, I thought was really great. I thought the Rey shit was phenomenal. I thought, finding the Falcon was great. Finding Solo, and I thought that was all great. Like, we didn't get that from the fucking New Hope. That's different. So I don't know. I can't. I hope they don't do it. I don't want to see it. But like, to move forward and to create better content would be phenomenal. And I think they're trying.
I know you say to move forward, but I think when you have such strong characters, and I'm going to go right to Princess Leia, right? Princess Leia is such an iconic character, and the fact that you can't tell stories with her anymore is sad. Like, she gets name dropped. That's it. That's what we get.
Yeah.
That's sad because that's such a strong character in that trilogy. If you go back and watch her scenes, how she dominated everything, how she held herself, how she held her own in those scenes, that's a fantastic character. And the fact that why we can't get a movie in between Return of the Jedi and that focuses on Leia. We get the flashback of her training as a with Luke, but that's all we get. We get a 5-minute montage, like Rocky. Again, why can't we get a movie, Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, as its own spin-off? It doesn't have to be Star Wars part whatever, just Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight.
Though I'd love to see it. I just don't think we're ever going to get it. But I'm fine with that. Like, all right, fine. All right, moving forward. All right. So this week also, again, as I go back to props and replicas, there was an original X-Wing that was sold for $3 million that belonged to the original prop maker, Greg Jen.
I was going to say, Ed, why'd you spend so much?
I got outbid. I put my cap at $3 million. It went for just over.
$3 million. I mean, other props that he had as well that were in his garage that were just sitting in his garage were like Star Trek memorabilia, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and other little I think Space Odyssey, I think, or something like that, or 2001 Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick's. Like, I mean, I just don't. $3 million, like, how do you do that? Like, and it's just to me, it's just phenomenal. And again, that is the power of Star Wars, of those original props and replicas, is the shit that is just like, again, that you can't recreate that. No digital thing can ever recreate that, what they did down there. And
well, and that's the thing. That's why it lives on forever. That's why it's as popular it is, and it's why that character core, going back to where we started, story needs to continue. It's just I'm going to continue to call back on Marvel. Like, we complain now about the Marvel Cinematic Universe because who's the Captain America? Who's the Iron Man? Who's these characters? And there's no characters that good. As much as they bring us good characters, they're never those characters. There's never going to be a bad guy as intimidating, even though he, comes full circle at the end, but as Darth Vader, when he comes through that hallway and all you see is that red saber pop out, you never have that fear. And that's the problem.
He's good because he's timeless. You can use him forever.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you don't need an actor. It'll be sad one day because it'll eventually James Earl Jones won't be with us to do that voice. But again, it's something that we would get used to. I mean, there's lots of great voiceover actors who can mold.
You can replicate it.
Yeah.
All right. So
all
moving
right.
on of why we're here tonight. We're here to review again Genndy Tartakovsky's
Genndy.
The Genndy series.
Tartakovsky.
Star Wars: The Clone Wars. That was actually shown from 2003 to March 2005 on the Cartoon Network.
Minis.
Yes.
Like 30, 60-second mini shorts.
I never watched these. I
Really?
remember seeing them and watching. I watched them last night.
For the first time.
And for the first time, I remember seeing them. I've seen the artwork. I think I texted you. Oh my God, Anakin. Ugh. Oh my God. And I've seen some of Tartakovsky's work. I think what was that? A Primal that we really liked.
Amazing.
Right? Yeah.
First of all, he's amazing.
I hated this. I did not like any of this. Visually, I did not like any of the look. I did not like the big space battles. It was just, you know what it felt like? It felt like a kid with crayons just smashing everything over where you just saw all the things. And I'm just like, it's like 100 frames per second. I'm like, I just don't like this. I'm like, this is not for me. And then the voice acting, like, it just didn't hit. Although somebody brought it up earlier, I think it was Gatsu. The Asajj Ventress scene was awesome. That was like, I was like, when we got to that point, I'm like, oh, okay. I really like this. And then I liked her in Anakin's fight, but I still hated Anakin. Like, I just hated Anakin so much. And then I was trying to figure out where in the timeline is this, because
this was Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I know, but like it didn't feel right for some odd reason. Like, when did he lose his hand? And again, I was just off. Like, it wasn't connecting for me right, because I'm like,
he lost his hand after Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, at the end of Attack of the Clones, and this is before.
I remember
Revenge
they got
of the Sith.
married. Yeah, they got married, and
but when did he kill Dooku? Was that
no? That was Revenge of the Sith. That's the beginning of the next one.
That was the very beginning. See, that's where.
Yes.
So those two were tying in too much, and I'm like, why is Dooku still here? I'm like, so that's where I was thrown off. Okay. That's fine. That was just the nit. Like, I was like, I'm not 100% sure. I just didn't like it.
What?
A few, like, you know what? Some of the animation with the stills, like the clone troopers and stuff, look cool. Like when the shots would freeze on them, like when I would just get their faces and stuff, or when they're flying their ships. I'm like, oh, I like that. But then when I'm seeing like, Mace Windu, like, it was a badass scene and part of the story. I just didn't like how Mace Windu looked. He looked like a thumb. Like, his head looked like a thumb.
That's face right there. Animation is like, this is traditional animation at its best, to be honest.
At its best? I don't know if it's at its best. Traditional animation at its best. Talk to me when we were talking about Aladdin. And
the character design of this, it's a specific kind of character design, though.
I know, it's because it's the thick lines. It's all that. It's all the stuff I'm learning from you and Steve talking about shit, but I just did not like this.
Ed, you can tell me your review of how you feel about it. We're gonna run it through real quick, but I mean,
So I remember watching this when they dropped in the actual micro episodes and waiting for them, because this was before Clone Wars. This was the original gap filler between those two movies, and it took place between those movies.
Yeah,
because you're talking about Attack of the Clones in 2002. This is 2003, and we don't get Revenge of the Sith until 2005. So this was, there was no other Star Wars content. To have something was fantastic. Now, I look at this a little differently now, because I think on Disney Plus they have it as
an hour.
Like that whole line of these, like all of these different types of animation, like the legends.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at it that way. It's like, this is like any legend is completely far-fetched. It's over the top. So I look at this as kind of around the campfire storytelling. Like they're going to go, I knew somebody who happened to know somebody who happened to see this from that perspective. And that's why you get like Mace Windu, who is single-handedly defeating all of these droids, because it's just been told. It's a legend.
Awesome scene.
So that's how I look at it. And it just feels good. Now, you're right. Some of the animation's a little rough. It is old. I know in the first few episodes, the audio is horrible. Like, it's great because they're pulling it right from the movies, but it doesn't match up. It's a little off, but the imagery is fantastic.
I mean, look at that. That is beautiful. Look at that. Look at all that. The colors. It's just,
yeah.
Again, I am an animation guy. So, like, for me, this animation hits because, the Cartoon Network shit era was like, like all the cartoons were awesome in Cartoon Network. I always felt, even down to Johnny Bravo to whatever.
I liked watching the Powerpuff Girls. I mean, like, I get it,
And this is all by him, though. Like, it's all.
No, I know this is it's all in that same line, but for some odd reason, it just with Star Wars. I don't know. Maybe I'm spoiled because of watching Rebels and the new Clone Wars. When I see this, I'm like, oh my god! Like this character design right there. Like this was like I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this is ugly. Like this weird chin thumb, and I mean, it looks like he's got a dick in his face. Like look at that. That's the tip of a penis as his chin.
Every Jedi in this is angry. Every Jedi from Yoda. But they're all angry.
They are. Yeah, Yoda's face is always like he's just mad. I'm like,
I fucking love way Yoda. But remember when I was
pal. Oh my god.
Oh no.
When he was talking, he's like, oh, so there it be. I'm like, oh my god, this is so bad. Like,
he looks like a creepy old man. He does.
He is a creepy old man.
Look at the shoulders. Look at the art. Like, you guys make fun of my shoulders. Like, I'm glad I don't have shoulders like that. Like, what is that?
Now, it is good because this introduces us to Tom Kane as Yoda, who we get all through the Clone Wars, and James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan.
Right.
So this is a jumping off point that kind of gets us really good stuff for later in the Clone Wars.
Archangel, I do need to see a doctor because it is looking a little bit like that. So. But no, you know what? That's the thing. Obi-Wan, I thought looked good. I thought like Obi-Wan, felt like Obi-Wan, and then seeing some of the other characters that we don't really get to see. Kit, was it
Kit Fisto?
Kit Fisto. Like I was like, oh my god, his scene was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's Star Wars anime.
Yeah,
that's what this is. This is Star Wars anime.
It feels like wannabe anime. Like people, it feels like anime from. And again, I know Genndy
20 years ago.
Gendy's huge and he's done his shit, but like I just don't like it. It feels like it's missing that anime piece. You know what I mean? Like anime feels cleaner. This feels very rugged, trying to be anime, I guess.
Really? So did you like any of the storylines, or you just were?
Yeah, I did. I mean, that's what I said. I said the Asajj Ventress piece was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic.
I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like that's when I got into it. Up until that point, I'm watching this and I'm just like, oh, this part here. I'm like, what the hell is this? It looks like a bunch of crayons being like drawn on the screen. Like, especially when you watch that in like, just like, I'm like, oh my god, this is just. I don't know, man. Maybe
I don't know. Like to me, remember I was collecting the statues.
I remember.
I fucking love that shit. It's just like a maquette to me, and it's just like that like design of it just went right from the screen to like a statue. I so regret getting rid of those, and now I want them all back again. I'm so pissed. But again, like I'm gonna jump through some stuff. Like I thought this Clone Wars episode, like when the clones were by themselves and they were making moves, like I thought this was great. I really did. I enjoyed that part. And this was before the clones even had a name.
Yeah.
Like none of them had a name. No, we didn't know who the fuck they was.
Well, we really don't hear either.
No, you don't.
They are nothing but clone versions of droids. They have no personality. They're just a stand-in for droids, but on the other side of the.
But they were really fucking badass, and and this was my first like introduction. Like we seen that, but my introduction to like, oh shit, these clones are fucking like, because you didn't really get that in Attack of the Clones.
No,
you You just got some, hey, this is, they look like stormtrooper motherfuckers. Like that's what we thought.
Well, you knew, right? Like you saw the clones and you're like, oh, these are gonna be stormtroopers. Like, okay.
Right. But then like you started to realize how fucking badass these dudes was. And I was like, I need more of this shit. And like, I mean, they gave it to us, but it really did. And like Ed just said, it introduced us to what the Star Wars universe can be now. And it's like, and then that's where Dave Filoni just kind of took that and meshed it into something great from the Clone Wars cartoon. You know what I mean? So again, this kind of started it all. Like I really felt like this was like the stepping point.
And I'm not denying any of that. I'm just saying, like, it just, and maybe it was the wrong thing trying to do these micro episodes, right? Because I don't think it got. And I think season 2, I think it's only like 5 chapters for an hour. They must have gone longer. I haven't watched it yet.
Right.
But these were all like a minute, right? 30 seconds to a minute, minute and a half, somewhere like that. And a lot of fast stuff. Like in here, like, yeah, I love this Kit Fisto stuff right here. Like,
this
was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, he can beat up Aquaman and Namor. Like this was awesome. He was just, I did not realize he was an underwater type Jedi.
Oh, so you didn't know that at all?
No.
Oh wow, I'm actually happy you did watch this then. And so now you know a little bit more about a lot of Star Wars.
There's characters I know. I just don't know all the backstories of them all because, it just didn't it didn't go anywhere. There was one scene when they're fighting a bunch of beasts. There's a bunch of monsters or creatures where a guy, like one beast had like 15 nipples, and I'm just like, I don't know why they're all like square nipples. I'm like, oh, this is so weird.
Dude, you go deep in.
Well, because I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, I love this, of course, because I love the Gamorrean guards. But
oh yeah, but then like when this was our first appearance.
Was this okay? And that's what I want to ask you. This is the first. Okay, that's awesome. I love this. I thought this part here was awesome when he could sense her, and then and then she went and fought, and I loved it.
I mean, she looks terrible in this. I just don't like. I didn't like the way the character design was after watching it, and then you know what the animated series, the Filoni one does. It's like this looks. I don't like it, but it works.
Yeah, but, and again, it's first draft.
Yeah, again, yeah. You see it. This just sets up shit. It's like a Wampa, and like, come on, man. Like this is
right here. I think this is where I saw a 15 nipple guy.
Yeah, it's somewhere in this scene.
Was it in the scene? I didn't even.
Yeah, it's one of the monsters that she's fighting.
Before, but that's okay.
Yeah,
we don't need to focus on the nipples.
Yeah, I think you do. Though. Sometimes.
Well, I mean, I do.
Worry about you. But I thought this scene was great. Like fucking her and Dooku going hand to hand. I'm like, damn, I forgot about that shit. Like, just fucking great. And then the way the Emperor, like, he's melding it into like, I want Anakin Skywalker, but I'm gonna use both of y'all as my fucking pawn to get control of that. Like I thought that was, I think that whole little thing that they were doing, I thought was amazing to me.
Go out and kill him.
Yeah.
If he's strong enough to survive, he's worth my attention. If you kill him, then I'll find something else. Yeah. This is also our introduction to Grievous. We don't see him before this.
It is. I thought this character was great. Like I really did.
Oh, that little that blob thing.
Yeah, I thought that was this whole scene was fucking great. Like them against clones and Obi-Wan. Like I thought this was great.
Seeing Obi-Wan in full clone armor is awesome. So good.
Yeah.
They missed out not doing that in live action.
I agree. They fucked that up. Like they really should have did that. So great episode. And then like just Anakin. I'm gonna tell you,
I hate Anakin, man.
Anakin's fucking voice was stupid.
Awful. Awful.
That's why he doesn't do it in Clone Wars. They gave us somebody different.
Yeah. Oh my god. I wrote OMG, the Anakin voice actor is awful. That's my exact text to you right when I started watching this. I'm just like, oh my god, this is gonna. And then I've got it, Master. Blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, shut up.
So
I wanted Savage Ventress to take him out.
I know they would never do it, and there's no way that we could do it on it. But I wonder how much better this would be if you had the rest of the actual Clone Wars, like Matt Lanter, do the voice for this. If that would make this that much better.
Or even the TV actors.
Yeah.
I mean,
not
yeah.
TV, the movie actors, whatever.
So
possibly.
And
yeah,
I like,
here's this scene with Mace Windu where he's crushing everything with his bare hands. He's fighting droids with his bare hands.
Fucking great.
And we were talking about that when we were talking about Ahsoka with Ezra, using the force judo. Like, this is it.
Yeah,
Mace Windu
this
did it
is
here.
it.
This is better. His shit was weak.
Well, of course he did it, but of course this is better. But I'm just saying, like, people were like, "Oh, we've never seen that before." I'm like, "Nope, right here. Look at this. He takes out entire buildings. Like, he's doing these spin moves like Captain America." I'm like, "What is? It's crazy."
And
my favorite is when he pulls all of the bolts out of it. It falls apart, and then he uses the bolts as projectiles.
Yes.
So good.
That shit was some Magneto shit. I was like, oh, that is awesome. Oh, man, I must have skipped it. But was it right here or some shit? I can't even remember.
Yeah, it's somewhere in this.
I mean,
again,
so right there, that's the scene to me that I was just like, okay. Where he just goes like this, crushes all their heads and throws them.
Yeah. Yeah, he was Samuel L. Jackson badass. Like, if he said motherfucker at the end of this, I'd have been like,
well, I think we need to dub it now.
Yeah, yeah, motherfucker. It's like,
you can take any Sam Jackson movie because he says it in every single one. So
yeah, I just want to get to that one scene where he just grabs every. Yeah,
there it is, right there, and then throw him. So good,
fucking perfect. Oh my god.
Yes,
it's a great. That was a great scene too. That was great. This one wasn't too bad. I could have did without the Padme shit, but I did like these two characters. Was it Shakti and I can't remember.
Borisafi.
Yeah, I thought those were great. Again, they came back in the Clone Wars, episode, so I thought that was really good. She had a whole. This character, she had like a whole backstory to her. Like how she kind of switched out from the, in the Dave Filoni one, like she became like she kind of betrayed the Jedi or some shit.
She's the one who bombed the temple that Ahsoka got blamed for.
Yep, and that's when Ahsoka walked away, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nobody believed her except Anakin.
Yeah, this was an okay episode. It wasn't really that great. I was kind of like, meh, don't really need it. I'm fine. C-3PO, R2-D2, always up to their little shenanigans. I thought that was fine with that.
Yeah.
Then this is where we get.
Oh yes.
This is where we get a fucking like yo.
And she goes to town on every clone.
Yeah, just throwing them around like rag dolls. Like,
man,
get out of here, you piece of shit.
Rambo style, sneaking up and taking them out individually.
Yeah, but it was great though. Like, I didn't. To be honest, I didn't even know it was her until I realized. I'm like, oh shit! Like, yo, she's fucking these dudes up, and like, it was just she just went at it, and then she blew up. Then she started blowing shit up. I'm like, well, how the fuck did you do that? Like, it was crazy.
Poor R4.
Yeah, poor R4. I did feel bad for him. But again, great fucking like lightsaber scene. Yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, there are things that I wish we would have got in live action, and this is one of these moments where I would have loved to see Asajj Ventress live action.
This is it's stuff like that, Sean. When you say that, it's why I say reboot, right? Because they could reboot and give you all these characters, give it better, make it better, extend the story. It doesn't have to line up exactly. We have the big plot points, but you can go so much deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's one of the reasons why I think I never liked the prequels is because when we got to Attack of the Clones and then why am I drawing the look in the third one? The Revenge of the Sith is like so much happened and it just was like breezed past. And I get it. There's all this animation now that they filled in with it. But when you're watching it, when it came out in theaters, that's all you had really outside of these shorts.
Yeah.
And but these shorts didn't touch on Asajj Ventress at all. Like, I mean, that the shorts, but the third movie didn't bring her up. Why not?
I know.
So it's like you have all these missed opportunities because the lore continues to grow. that you can reboot,
Well,
recast,
the
and
problem with
start
that,
telling more in-depth theatrical stories.
the problem why we didn't see those characters because they weren't really written.
Well, I
Like,
get it, yes.
They weren't really like
But
okay.
now they're super popular. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Like then they got written later, and then it was like, oh shit, we could do this and we could do that. So I get like, hey, we didn't get that in between. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Like because you just were able to tell a better story. Like what happened between this and what happened between that. So I get it. Like I mean, I'm not mad, but this is great.
So
like,
bad.
Yeah, this was fucking great. So
Yeah.
Even Anakin, like he was like down and out, and that was really it for him. So like that was great.
The little things, the rain on the lightsabers,
Right.
the hissing, the steam coming off.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, no, it was great. Fucking just everything. And a little, the animation is just, it was great.
Again, I am not an animated, I'm not an artist or anything. So I knew you guys would love this because I know you guys love Genndy. So I was just like, I knew it, but for some odd reason, it just this series just did not click. Like I turned it on and I'm like, oh my god, like I don't know why. It's just like I don't want to say my eyes were bleeding, but the first few micro episodes, I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it through.
Yo, the steam coming off the fucking lightsaber, never seen that before.
So
never
good.
fucking seen that before in the fucking Star Wars. Like I didn't even know that shit even worked until
And it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes fucking a whole lot of sense. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And then
So good.
So I don't know, but it was great.
See, I like Genndy because this makes me want to go watch Samurai Jack.
I know it does. Yeah. Again, this was great. No dialogue. I love how he doesn't use dialogue a lot. Like again, love this shit.
Yeah,
man. Just great. And then this is where we get that finished off, but then we get this last episode,
the introduction of Grievous.
Yeah, and then that shit was like, I remember seeing this. This was the first episode I seen. I didn't even see anything before that. When I seen this shit, I was like, I am in. And then I think I got a chance to go back and watch all of them. And man, when you seen Grievous, you like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, oh shit. And like, just phenomenal. Just a really great character.
It almost frustrates me rewatching this because they missed an opportunity in Revenge of the Sith because they made Grievous in that movie kind of a punk. Like he's always running away.
They did.
I mean, he's got some great fighting abilities at the end with Obi-Wan, but other than that, it's like, oh, run away. I'm like, in this, he's a badass.
Yeah, I want to see how he got the fucking lightsabers. That's what I want. I mean, he got most of them from here, but like, just overall, like he was kicking ass and taking names, man. And he was balancing on one foot with the fucking 3 lightsabers. Like that was beautiful.
When the red shirt Jedi, Star Trek reference, when he's all scared and he runs out and he just comes down and just stomps him. Just lands right on top of him and stomps him and it jumps up on. Holy shit.
I gotta go back to that scene. Oh, it was right here.
Yeah. It looks like Shaggy.
Yeah. And then that was it.
Runs out, boom, dead. Just like that.
Yeah. That was great. So
didn't know Shaggy was a Jedi.
And then like, damn, like I don't know, man. Like just phenomenal. I don't know. Just overall, it was just great. Just
Who's that girl?
I forgot who she was. I can't remember. I got to go back and look at all my Jedis and know who they are. I can't remember beat by beat which one who was who, but again, just a great episode. Just really, really great. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait. I can't wait till Lil watches the second season.
Part 2.
I guess so.
So that is it. That is it, man. So again, I gave it a hero. Ed, I mean, I'm not sure what your rating was. I don't even remember if we even gave it a rating.
No, I didn't give it a rating.
If I had to, I'd give it a sidekick.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's again, for Star Wars fans, you're gonna love it. For that style of animation, you probably love it. Me, I'm 50-50 on it. There's some scenes I really like. Some scenes I was just like, I don't know if I was gonna have a seizure or something. Like just, you know what it was too. I think it was like all the space battles. Like anytime they were in space and like you just saw all the lasers going across, I'm like, I don't know what I'm watching here, man. This looks crazy. This is literally looks like I'm just sitting there with a crayon just scribbling all over. Just a bunch of here's red, here's blue, here's some green, and that's what it looked like to me. Just a big blob. Maybe I need to get my eyes checked again. I don't know. But there you go. So,
what was your rating?
See, it's tough because I want to give it a hero, but in the early first pieces of it, it's rough. And I struggle with that. So it's kind of that high sidekick.
There you go. You're right in between.
It is right in between, especially with just looking at this part of it. If I'm looking at it from midway to the back end, it's hero all the way. The beginning of it's a little rough, and it takes a little warming up to. But
yeah, if I could extract the Asajj Ventress, her story, that's all I need. That's all I need for here. Like I hated Anakin. I think that might have been the other thing too. Like I just like the voice actor who played him. Oh my god, he's not the master. He's not the. Is he? Did they do a movie as well?
Not this.
No,
there was a movie pre the Clone Wars series, right?
But it's the same as the actual series itself.
Series. Okay.
Yes.
So we don't hear this Anakin after chapter 2. Okay, that's the thing.
No, we don't hear none of that shit.
Yeah,
I'm good. I agree with you. If I had to rate Anakin's voice, I'd definitely give it a 0.
Oh my god, it was like nails on a chalkboard.
So it makes it tough.
Well, look,
but again, I don't know if it's also because
come on, man.
What happened?
He said, why is a little here? He said, Sean's the real fan.
Thank you, Pacino. Thank you very much, sir.
Because Pacino, I gotta put Sean in his place.
Oh yeah.
Way off on his stand.
I think Star Wars is great, and I love like, Listen, we said a lot. I appreciated everything that we talked about tonight. I mean, we got to call it what it is because I don't want a long ass show like our regular show. But please join us here next week. Like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you got to do. We're trying to push this Star stuff every week. I'm definitely going to be here every week. I think Ed's going to be every week. I think Alil's going to be here every week too because Alil needs to put me in straight. He is definitely a hater, so I'm enjoying it though.
I'm Sean's nemesis. I'm his villain,
and I love it. And I love it so much. But yes, thank you. This is Sean,
and this is Alil.
And this is Ed.
And may the force be with you. Thank you for joining us. And we got to go.